Hello and welcome to Little Mo Internationals. I am Tiffany Freud, and today I would love for you to meet and speak with one of the most amazing women I have ever met. So, to give a little background and introduce herself, please tell us why today is important.
Oh, well, thank you, Tiffany. It is such a joy to be with you today. And you can hear all the noise in the background because today, Tiffany, we're celebrating the Little Mo Internationals in West Orange. And what the Little Mo Internationals is it's one of three outstanding tennis tournaments that really heralds the best 8 to 12 year olds, not just in the country but in the world. So here at our international tennis tournaments, we have young players from all over the country, and literally we had 30 nations represented who compete in the Little Mo Internationals. And we have, Tiffany, it's all part of the Maureen Conley Brinker Tennis Foundation. And the Maureen Conley Brinker Tennis Foundation was founded by my mom, it was Maureen Little Mo Conley Brinker and her best friend Nancy Jeffett, to really promote junior tennis. And what we do is we have national tournaments, and then we have 3 international tournaments, and today is the second of our 3 international tournaments year round. So we are just enjoying phenomenal tennis. We're enjoying young champions. And Tiffany, not only are these kids good tennis players, I mean really good at 8 years old, but they all do extraordinary things off the court. They're musical. They're the best students in their classroom. They are good writers. And they participate in other sports because, you know, when you dedicate your life to excellence, to honing in, and they hone in on the sport of tennis, you're creating and learning how to master the skill of living. And these young kids at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years of age are extraordinary. And so I marvel, I really do. And my mom sadly passed away of cancer when she was 34. If she was here, she would marvel. So my sister Brenda and I oversee all the activities of the Maureen Conley Brinker Tennis Foundation, but then we have a great team that also oversees the tennis tournaments.
Absolutely incredible, and these kids are incredible.
They literally rock my world. This is my happy place, Tiffany.
Absolutely, I can feel the energy.
Yes.
And one of the things you mentioned was legacy, and we know about your mother's incredible legacy in tennis. What I'd love to learn a little bit more of is yours.
Yes, well, thank you. Legacy is a powerful word. It's a very powerful word because it describes who you are. It's your whole history. It's your story. Legacy is your story. And I was just born to love tennis in my DNA because just a short background on my mom. Mom was what my sister and I call a remarkable person who just happened to be a very good tennis player. But she was the best tennis player in the world. And she won Wimbledon 3 years in a row as a teenager. She won the Calendar Grand Slam, which is winning all 4 of the major tennis tournaments in the year. It's the Australian Open in January. It's the French Open in April. It's Wimbledon, which is in the fortnight of June and July, and then the U.S. Open, which we're just coming on next week in New York. So Mom won all 4 of those in one calendar year when she was 19 years old.
Incredible.
And she has been the first woman and the only American to do that, Tiffany. And in the history of tennis, only 5 players have won the Calendar Grand Slam. So she was a great tennis player, number 1 in the world in 1952, 53, and 54. But sadly, her tennis career was abruptly ended with a horseback riding accident when she was 19. And then sadly, much more sadly, her life was ended at 34 with cancer. So what I celebrate is the legacy of my mom. Yes, in history books, she holds so many records. She won every Grand Slam tournament she ever played. But what, again, as I say, is she was a remarkable woman who just happened to be a very good tennis player. And so what my sister Brenda was 10 when Mom passed away, I was 12. We love perpetuating Mom's legacy, her great tennis legacy. But at the same time, my mom and my dad taught us how important it was to invest back into people, how to make a difference, how to be other-focused, not self-focused. And again, that's just part of our DNA. So while Brenda and I do this, And we aren't paid for it. We just do this, even though we oversee the foundation. Our foundation is one of the largest private junior tennis foundations in the world. We do this in honor to celebrate our mom's wonderful life, but also Brenda and I are involved in other nonprofit work, Tiffany, and giving back to the community. And it's again because of the example that my mom left us, and my dad too.
What a beautiful legacy on both parts. And part of that legacy kind of continues with you. I want to wish congratulations because this weekend you're being honored at the Yale Club in New York City. I mean, that is nothing small. So can you tell us a little bit about that too? And again, congratulations.
Oh, thank you, Tiffany. Well, tennis, as I said, was part of my DNA.
Yes.
So even though Mom never wanted me to play tennis because she didn't want me to feel like I was following in the footsteps of a famous parent and all the pressure that goes with that, I love tennis. And so Mom said, well, if Cindy wants to play tennis, let her play tennis. So I pursued tennis after Mom died. And I think part of the reason, Tiffany, is I love tennis, yes. But it was also a way for me to keep Mom's memory alive in my heart, just to play tennis. So I went to the University of Virginia. I played junior tennis very competitively. Was one of the top junior players in the country when I was 18 and under. And then I went to the University of Virginia for 4 glorious years. And the University of Virginia is what I call hallowed ground. It's Mr. Thomas Jefferson's university.
Yeah.
And I played on the varsity team for 4 years. So in order to get this award, you had to be a varsity tennis player for 4 years. So I checked that box off. And then this award just goes on to give it to someone who has taken tennis after that and done something with their life, either in business or in a humanitarian way. And so I think they're just giving a nod. I had a wonderful, very exciting and dynamic business career for 35 years in public relations. I owned some firms and had a very exciting 35 years in public relations. You know about that.
I do.
And, it's 24/7, but you meet so many great people.
Absolutely.
And your creative side just runs away with you. And so I loved public relations for 35 years. And then when I came back from the University of Virginia, I had a promise to myself. When I was 12, I was sitting in a very uncomfortable church pew. My grieving 37-year-old dad was to my right. My little 10-year-old sister was to my left. We had just buried my mom. And Tiffany, I was just so confused. I was so brokenhearted. I was just so angry, 12 years old, because it's like Mom was the joy in our family. It was like this vacuum cleaner had come down, was lowered from the heavenlies, and just sucked all the joy out of our family, losing this precious woman, talented and beautiful. And I vowed then that someday, somehow, some way, I was going to give back to fight this scourge of a disease that had taken my mom's life. So when I came back from the University of Virginia, I worked for a little while in a political firm because I love politics.
Yeah.
But then a year later, I worked at a country club in special events and PR. And this was a country club that was really more equestrian-centric. And so we had horse shows and people boarded horses there. And a lot of the people who were members of the country club were very competitive in hunter jumpers, but also we had polo. But it was a country club, so we had tennis courts, we had a swimming pool, we had racquetball. So I thought, this would be a fun way, organically, just to do something to raise money for the American Cancer Society. So we started organically, just a fun weekend of activities for the members of this country club. We had a horse show, we had a tennis tournament, we had a little swim marathon, people could get pledges and swim, and then we had a bake sale and a dance marathon.
Wow.
I don't know how we came up with that. And
That's a lot.
Yeah, there was a lot to do in one weekend.
Right.
But we expected to raise $2,000. We raised $6,000. And the next year we did it again. We raised $15,000. The next year we raised like $22,000. So a movement began.
Yeah.
A movement began. And I never anticipated this. So we incorporated, and 43 years later, we're still growing strong. We've raised millions and millions of dollars for cancer research, and we focus on special people, children with cancer, little kids. They're our heroes.
Absolutely.
These are kids that literally, they're so courageous and they're resilient families. So we fund very novel, cutting edge, and innovative pediatric cancer research programs and research projects. And then we also have programs that comfort and give hope to families who are undergoing this cancer journey. So that's called it's called Wipe Out Kids Cancer, and we did it for that weekend, and now it's called Wipe Out Kids Cancer. We've been doing it for 43 years.
And can we get the website for that
Yes,
as well?
it's, thank you, it's WOKC.org. WOKC.org.
Okay, and we will tag that as well.
That is great. And we do all kinds of events, and as I said, we've raised tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah, and for people watching, if you want to take part, if you want to, donate potentially, or maybe even just share this on social media, because sharing is just as important.
So important.
Can you also give them, potentially a place to donate? Like, can you go to the website to do that?
Yes, and that would be WOKC.org. If they just log on to the website, it's a very complete website, and there's donate buttons, and I'd love your wonderful viewers just to see what we do, our mission. And again, our mission is to fund novel, innovative pediatric cancer research projects, and at the same time to provide hope and comfort to these courageous, fine children and their families. But yes, if people are interested in donating, we are very appreciative in advance, very heartfeltly grateful.
Absolutely. And I mean, legacies all around, between your mom, between you, and all of these children that are really creating their own legacy.
Yes.
I hope everyone that's watching really does just take a moment to watch some of the stories, look at the different kids playing, and go to this website. And again, we will tag that in the comments, and just take part in this because it's so incredibly important. And thank you so much for your time today and being with us. Is there anything you want to leave them with?
And just the Maureen Conley Brinker Tennis Foundation too. That is my other side as well. And as you said so beautifully, Tiffany, so succinctly,
Thank you.
that's what we're doing here. And we are seeing the next group of young champions emerge. And Tiffany, one other thing, and this is really important because I know this is how you feel. If my mom was sitting here, she would say, I'm very proud of the Maureen Conley Brinker Tennis Foundation because what we do is so extraordinary and it's innovative. There's no other group doing exactly, or foundation doing what we're doing. She'd say, but if all we're doing is just turning out great tennis champions, I'm not interested. Because what we do, Tiffany, is we preach citizenry here. When we have these kids, we have fabulous opening ceremonies because we have nations represented. So it's kind of like an Olympic style ceremony. We play big music and they come in with their placards. Israel, Australia, Canada, with all the nations. We had 30 represented this month. And in December, we have our next big international tournament. We have 600 players and 60 nations represented. But what we do to those wonderful future stars, we preach good sportsmanship. We preach the importance of fair play, integrity, kindness. We give out a kindness award and a sportsmanship award to a boy and a girl. We talk about the importance of giving back, doing what you're doing, Tiffany.
Thank you.
I have found, dear one, that the grief isn't a new emotion. Grief is not a new emotion. I have a hole in my heart, Tiffany, that no EKG will ever detect. Losing my sweet mom to cancer, and then I also lost my husband to cancer. My little boy was 9. So there's a little hole in my heart that no EKG will ever detect. But the question is, what do you do with that? And so grief is not a new emotion, nor is activism a new phenomenon.
Absolutely.
And as you've known, and as I've experienced as well, when you marry the two, healing takes place. When you become other focused and you do for others, that's a legacy. And if Mom was here, she would say the most important thing we could do is to tell these young kids, you're going to be a person a lot longer than you're going to be a tennis player. Because remember, her career was only 3 years. She had from 51 to 54, she won everything. The undisputed #1 woman tennis player in the world before she was 19. And then she had, just like that, a horseback riding accident that in a nanosecond cut short her career. She went from being #1 in the world to not ever being able to play tennis anymore. So what she did is she wanted to give back in a spirit of thanks to the sport of tennis that had given her so much. She wanted to pour her life into doing something for others. So she created the Maureen Conley Brinker Tennis Foundation. So today we talk about, again, giving back, an attitude of gratitude,
Yes.
because young players, you're role models right now, but you're going to be a person a lot longer than you're going to be a tennis player.
Absolutely. I love that so much. It's not really the amount of life in your years, it's what you do with that life. And I think that is one of the best ways to kind of summarize what you all are doing. And I hope everyone watching kind of feels what I feel right now and so empowered and just wanting to give back as well. Thank you so much again. This was such a joy. And from the Little Mo Foundation, this is Tiffany Freud and
Cindy Brinker Simmons.
signing off.
Thank you.
Thank you. Love and light. Oh my goodness, that was great.
You are just-
One take.